Each cigarette sparks a silent chemical storm. With every puff, more than 7,000 toxic substances enter the body, many of them poisonous, some even directly linked to cancer. This is why smoking is considered one of the most preventable causes of early death across the globe. Yet despite the evidence, about 1.3 billion people continue to smoke. The truth is, once the body is freed from constant exposure to nicotine and tar, a remarkable process of repair begins almost immediately. Let's take a closer look at what really happens once someone decides to stub out that final cigarette. The change starts within minutes. After only 20 minutes, the heart begins to calm down and beat at a steadier rhythm. Blood pressure, which had been pushed higher by nicotine's stimulant effects, falls back into a healthier range. Nicotine tricks the body into releasing adrenaline and noradrenaline, hormones that send the heart racing and squeeze blood vessels tighter. This is why smokers often feel colder at their fingertips and toes. The narrowed blood vessels reduce circulation. Once smoking stops, those blood vessels relax, blood flows more freely, and warmth returns to the skin. Even in less than half an hour, the body is already celebrating the decision. But at the 2-hour mark, the first real test arrives. Cravings hit hard. Nicotine withdrawal doesn't just affect the body, it unsettles the mind. Without its regular dose, mood swings can appear, sleep can become disturbed, and restlessness often sets in. It's not unusual to feel irritable, tired, or even anxious. This happens because nicotine hijacks the brain's reward system. It artificially boosts dopamine, the chemical that creates feelings of pleasure and satisfaction. Remove nicotine suddenly, and the brain is left in deficit. The result is tension, drowsiness, and a feeling of unease. These symptoms are tough, but they are proof that the brain is adjusting back toward its natural balance. At 8 hours, another shift unfolds. The amount of carbon monoxide, a poisonous gas that sneaks into the bloodstream from cigarette smoke, finally drops enough for oxygen to reclaim its rightful place. Normally, oxygen binds to hemoglobin, the protein in red blood cells that delivers it to every corner of the body. But carbon monoxide competes fiercely, squeezing out oxygen and leaving tissues starved. By clearing the gas, oxygen has space to circulate properly again. For long-term smokers, though, this battle leaves scars. Years of exposure make red blood cells enlarge, thicken the blood, and raise the likelihood of clots. Still, as carbon monoxide fades, the body feels the relief of proper oxygenation, often expressed as increased energy or sharper alertness. After one full day without smoking, the body continues its detox in an unexpected way. The lungs suddenly begin to push harder to cleanse themselves, and this can make coughing worse at first. It may feel discouraging, but it's actually progress. The respiratory system is shaking loose the tar, mucus, and toxins that have been clogging airways for years. At the same time, the chances of developing serious heart problems like coronary artery disease begin to decrease noticeably. The body is shifting from damage to defense. By the 48-hour milestone, nicotine and its byproducts are completely gone from the body. This stage brings another reward. The senses start to wake up. Smoking dulls taste buds, flattening them and cutting their blood supply. As they heal, flavors become richer and even subtle scents become more pronounced. A sip of coffee tastes more vibrant, food feels fuller, and the smell of fresh air becomes sharper. For many, this improvement serves as an encouraging reminder that healing is real and tangible. Of course, some lifelong smokers may have permanent damage to their sensory cells, but most experience a noticeable improvement after just 2 days. The 72-hour stage is often the hardest. This is the peak of withdrawal. Headaches pound, nausea may strike, stomach cramps can appear, And emotionally, many feel dragged through waves of anxiety, irritability, or even mild depression. The brain is essentially rewiring itself after years of dependency. These symptoms are similar to what people experience when withdrawing from other addictive substances, even caffeine. Yet the good news is that this peak marks the turning point. Once this hurdle is crossed, the symptoms ease and the body steadily adapts to functioning without nicotine. By the end of the first month, the changes become far more visible. The risk of chronic illnesses, including type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and even some forms of cancer, has already started to decline. Energy levels rise and breathing feels easier. Exercise or even simple daily tasks like climbing stairs no longer leave someone as winded as before. This is because lung capacity begins improving and blood circulation strengthens. Many people report a general lift in mood and vitality as the body no longer battles the constant stress of smoke. Between 3 months and 9 months, the recovery is remarkable. The cilia, tiny hair-like structures lining the lungs, are restored almost completely. These microscopic sweepers had been paralyzed and destroyed by smoke, leaving the lungs vulnerable to infection. As they return, they once again trap dust, bacteria, and debris, pushing it upward and out of the lungs. The result? Breathing becomes smoother, persistent coughing fades, and the risk of lung infections drops dramatically. For many, this stage feels like a second wind, where energy and stamina return in a way they hadn't experienced in years. 1 year marks a major milestone. The heart's health improves so much that the likelihood of heart disease is cut in half compared to those who continue smoking. Smoking damages arteries by creating a buildup of fatty deposits and scar tissue, a process known as atherosclerosis. This narrows arteries and makes them more fragile. After a year without smoking, that dangerous process slows, and the cardiovascular system becomes much stronger. The heart, once strained, now has a chance to beat freely and efficiently. Fast forward 10 years and the rewards are even greater. The odds of developing lung cancer are now reduced by half compared to an active smoker. The risks of other cancers, such as those affecting the mouth, throat, pancreas, bladder, and esophagus, are also sharply reduced. Smoking spreads its toxins to nearly every organ, so a decade of freedom translates into protection across the entire body. At the 15-year point, the transformation is profound. The likelihood of a heart attack is no greater than someone who has never smoked a single cigarette in their lifetime. The cardiovascular system has rebuilt itself to such a degree that the shadow of smoking no longer lingers in the same way. This is perhaps the most striking evidence of the body's resilience. Given time, it can repair even decades of damage. Still, it's important to acknowledge that not every injury can be reversed. Long-term smokers may carry scars in their lungs, making them more prone to chronic diseases. The earlier someone quits, the more complete their recovery will be. Yet even those who stop later in life reap enormous benefits. Quitting at any age adds years of life expectancy and improves day-to-day well-being. The path away from cigarettes is rarely smooth. The cravings, the restlessness, and the emotional swings can make it feel impossible at times, but each hurdle cleared is a step toward better health. From the very first 20 minutes onward, the body proves it wants to heal. Every extra day without smoking multiplies the benefits, adding strength to the lungs, resilience to the heart, and energy to the entire system. The simplest way to avoid this struggle is to never begin smoking at all. But for those who already have, quitting is one of the most powerful decisions they can ever make. It's not just about avoiding disease. It's about breathing easier, tasting food fully, waking up with more energy, and giving the body the chance to thrive again. If the journey feels overwhelming, focus on the small victories. The first hour matters. The first day matters. Each milestone represents healing in real time. And while the withdrawal stage can be tough, the body always rewards the effort with improvements that can be felt and measured. With support, persistence, and the right mindset, breaking free from cigarettes is possible. Quitting is more than cutting out a habit. It is reclaiming life itself. It is giving the lungs room to clear, the heart the chance to rest, and the body the power to move forward stronger than before. No matter how long someone has smoked, stopping today begins a countdown of healing that continues for years to come.